Right, okay, so we are going to talk you through how to set up your very first website, okay? So I'm going to assume you've already done the first step, which is to set up WordPress and add your theme and page build, all that kind of stuff. So we're using the Astra theme, okay? So the theme basically is the easiest way to control your header, your footer, and things like your typography, the fonts that you're going to use. You can use it to control colors as well if you want, but typically I don't do that. So the first thing we need to dive into is the customizer. So each theme has a different set of options within the customizer. So if we go to the dashboard, go to appearance, and then customize, it'll open up a menu, and from within this menu, okay, we can make loads of changes to the template and to the layout. So we've got lots of different options. So under global, if we click global, you can see the typography. Okay, so you've got base typography. So this is used for all of your copy. Okay, and you can set a base size, a base weight, obviously a base font family, line height, and all the rest of it. So typically I would set the family and I would set a size, usually of 18, because it needs to be read, but maybe 16 if it was a particularly young audience. But yeah, I prefer 18 generally. Go back then, the headings, again, we'd set a family for the heading, and you can go through and set a size for H1, H2, H3, etc. But you can also do that within the page builder that we use. So I would probably just set the family and leave it at that. Colors, base colors. Okay, so you can change the text color here. So if it was black, which is 00000, the hex code, I would probably just change it to something a little bit softer, so there's a little bit of contrast. And you can either enter a hex code, or you can use this color picker to pick a suitable color. The theme color, this comes up in various places in the theme, which we're probably not using, so you don't need to worry about that. The link color, you probably want to change the link color. You probably want a consistent color to be shown for all of your text links. And then the hover color, again, you'll probably want to set that to something that's going to stand out. So you wouldn't want that to be the same as your text color. And again, you can set your heading color here as well, or you can do it in the page builder. And you can also change the background color. So this will change all of your pages to whatever color you select. So yellow, orange, etc. We'll leave that on white for now. And then if we go back, we've then got container. Okay, so you can set the width of the container, and you can set the container to be boxed or full width. And then going back out, we've got buttons here. I don't really use the buttons under the customizer. We'll do that on the actual page builder itself. Very quickly, just look at the header. So we've got site identity. So here you can select your logo, and you can select the size of your logo. Okay. Jump back out of there. You've obviously got all your header layout here, whether you've got your logo on the left or the right or in the middle. And your menu, you select your primary menu, and there's some options on here. If you've got an e-commerce store or something like that, you might want to have a play around with that. But for the site we're looking at, we don't need any of this. Right, breadcrumbs, we're not using at the moment. Blog, we're not using at the moment. Sidebar, we're not using at the moment. Footer, okay, so if you click on the footer, you can see the footer bar here. Okay, this is the text right at the bottom here. So you've got copyright 2020, Kent Wedding Photographer. We'll probably just whip off the powered by bit there. Yeah, and you might just put in there, built by CJ or something like that. Excellent. Okay. You've got a couple of options here for layout, so you can have one area under another, or you can have them side by side. You've got section 1, and then you've got section 2 as well, so you can have another text field, or you can add a widget. or you can add a menu. So it might be quite nice to replicate the menu from the header, or to set up an alternative one, which may well have privacy policy, terms and conditions, that kind of stuff in.
Yeah.
So if we publish that, is that published? Is that published? Come out of that. And actually, if we go to our menus now quickly, we can see here under the menu structure, menu settings, you've got display location, footer menu. So if we tick that menu there and save that, and then we go to visit site, in the bottom, we should now see that your menu is replicated.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, so but probably you'll have a slightly different menu in the footer, because you're going to want that privacy and policy and other kind of stuff that people needs to be there, but you know, probably people don't really need to be pointed to it directly. So just jump back onto that. So we go to dashboard, appearance, customize, back to the footer. Okay, so there's different ways you can build a footer. If you want a consistent footer across your site, it's easiest to build it from within the theme, from the customize, because then we can make changes to it and it can update across all of the pages on the site. Whereas if we build a footer into the actual page template, if you want to make a change and you have to go and do it all for 10, 20 pages, it's going to take you an hour or something. But as well as the footer bar, obviously the footer bar is this bit right at the bottom. And actually, sorry, I should just go back and just show you. You can change the color as well. So you've got a border color here. You've got the background. So if you click on background, click on that icon, you can actually select the background color. So if you don't want it to be gray, you can have it whatever color you want it. So I'll just leave that for the gray at the moment. You can always change it later on. If you make changes in the customizer and you don't like what you've done or you want to change it, you can actually just go back out and close it. And it will ask you, the changes you made will be lost if you navigate away from this page, OK or cancel. So if you click OK, that color change I've just made is going to be forgotten. It's not going to be there. OK. So what you'll see on a lot of websites, obviously, is they've got a very large footer. They'll have a footer bar with the copyright and stuff like that. But then they're going to have contact details and maybe links to their blogs, all this kind of stuff. So again, we can manage that from that same area. So we go to dashboard, appearance, customize, go back to the footer. And here we've got these footer widgets. Okay, so we can select a layout here. It gives us 4 widgets that we can enter content into. Okay, so you can see here, footer widget area 1, area 2, area 3, and area 4. It's quite straightforward. Again, you can change the color. And you can change the color of the text, of the link colors, and all the rest of it. So it's quite good, quite sort of granular controls. If we click on this edit element here, it should just publish that. Okay, why is that not working? Oh yeah, actually. So when you're viewing it, you can just edit the different elements. So you can just edit the color from there. That's fine. So what we then need to do is we need to go back out again, and you'll see under the customizer menu is the widgets menu item here. If we click on that, you've then got your different widget areas. Okay, so we can go to widget area 1, and then we can click on add a widget. Okay, and you've got all these different widgets, which are basically little sections of code you can add to your page. Okay, so you can add archive, so that could be an archive of your blog posts. Okay, and there's different ways of displaying that. You can add audio, your calendar, categories. Custom HTML is a good one. Okay, so that's just going to give you a field that you can type away in, and actually you can just type your text, you know, so you might put your address in there, you might put your phone number in there, email address, etc. Okay, what else is there? This is good. So Elementor library. So we would use this a lot. So obviously Elementor is a page builder, but you can also build sections. Okay, so you might make quite a nicely designed contact box or something like that, and you can link to that from the widget. But you have to do that in Elementor. So I'll show you how to do that in a minute. You can link to a gallery. All these different widgets for you to play around. Navigation menu, pages, text. So probably the main ones are text, custom HTML, and the library. So let's go back out of that. And that is probably all we're going to look at for the moment in there. Let's close that. So with most themes and template builders and bits and pieces, with WordPress there's a lot of free stuff. There's a lot of free themes, and there's also paid themes. Okay, so paid themes typically have more options, and we're using on this site Astra, which is a free theme, but there's also a paid upgrade. So we've upgraded to the Pro version. So if we look under appearance, there's a new option here, Astra options. So if we click on that. Now you've got a load more menu items in here. So you've got colors and background, typography, spacing, mobile header. This is all stuff to give you more granular control over what you can do, basically. So the footer widgets one, if we activate that, okay, and if we go back to the customize, we go back to footer, go back to footer widgets. You can see now we've got more layout options under here. Okay, so that makes it a bit more interesting. There's a bit more varied as to what we can do. Okay. So that's really cool. And really, with web design, I don't know if I've said this before, but really, the best thing to start with is to start with your content. Is to start with pen and paper. Is to lay out your pages and with pen and paper to give yourself a map to work to. Cool. Right. Okay. So that's the customizer for now. Let's go and dive into the actual page builder. So we're using Elementor Pro. So if we go to dashboard pages, all pages, and let's just look at laying out a new page. Okay. So I'm going to click on add new. Okay. And this is going to give us a blank page. And actually what it wants us to use is the default WordPress page builder, which is Gutenberg. Okay, which Gutenberg's really cool, but it's not as user friendly. So Elementor is much more user friendly. So we use that. So if we click on edit with Elementor, this is then going to open up a page builder page for us, and we're going to be able to drag and drop our elements as we like on the page. So you can see you've got a new page here. You can see you've got a header section, and you can see you've got a footer section. If you wanted, you could get rid of the header and you could get rid of the footer, and you could do the whole page in Elementor. It's perfectly fine to do that. We've built many sites like that, and it gives you a really great degree of control, because what you can do with Elementor is a lot more refined and granular than what you can do with most themes, right? But just to explain very quickly, on the left-hand side, you've got the Elementor tool panel. Okay, and you've got this hamburger menu here. If you click on this, this takes you to default colors, default fonts, theme style, global settings. Finder, that's quite useful on view page. Okay, underneath we've got all of the different elements. So these are all of the different elements that you've got that you can use to build your page. So there's absolutely loads of them, and there's extensions and add-ons that you can buy and add to this to add even more. But every time you add more extensions, it means that your website's going to be putting in extra code that may be unnecessary. So typically, I just find myself using just a handful of these widgets, okay? Because for me, one of the most important things is that your website is fast, right? Because if your website takes 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 seconds to load, your audience is going to lose interest, and they're going to go elsewhere quite quickly. So just to show you very quickly, down the bottom, we've got this other menu, okay? And you've got this, the cog, the settings menu. If you click on that, this is the page settings, okay? So under here, you can give it a page title, that's fine. You've got your status here, so whether it's a draft page or whether it's published, etc. Okay, you can hide the title. We've probably done that by default anyway. But here, interestingly, is the page layout. Okay, so by default, there's a default page layout which is set by your theme. Okay, or you can give yourself Elementor full width. Okay, which basically will give you the full width of the page within the header and the footer constraints. Okay, or you can choose Elementor canvas, which gets rid of the header and the footer. Right, so now I've got a complete page I can build in Elementor. So that's pretty cool, especially just for having to play around and you know, seeing what funky stuff you might want to build. And definitely for you know, if you're doing a pay-per-click landing page or something like that, often I might just start with this and see what I'm going to pull together. Because with pay-per-click, I don't necessarily want people clicking away from my page to view other pages on the website, because I just want them to take an action on my page, you know. So let's go back to Elementor full width. Brilliant. Right. Okay. So here we go. So in the middle, you can see we've got this pink plus icon. Okay. And then we've got a folder icon, and or in fact, it's a template icon, right? So Elementor WordPress web design built on templates nowadays. If we click this, it actually opens up a library, and within this library, we've got loads of pre-built pages. So we could actually choose any of these pages we like the look of and use it as a starting point to build our website. Okay, so you have a little browse through and say, oh, let's have a look at that one, for instance. There you go. And I might think, yeah, that's quite cool. That's a nice starting point, you know. Or maybe you just need a quick website done quickly, you know. So you might just say, yeah, that's going to be my website. So you choose one, just click on insert here, and actually what that's going to do is that's going to build the page for you. Did I click it? There you go, a few seconds, and it's actually built and laid out that page for you. Okay, so what you would do now is you would just go and change all of the dummy content into your content, into what you wanted it to say, swap out your pictures, change your colors, all the rest of it. And that's really cool. And for a lot of people, that's enough, you know. A lot of people use these, and yeah, fine, why not? If you like doing that, that's great.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, personally, I don't typically do that. I build pages out myself, but you know, we definitely have used them. You can just obviously just delete anything you've put in there, and there you go, we're back to square one. If you click on the add templates again, okay, there was 3 sections under here. So you've got the pages, these are pre-built pages. You've got my templates, okay, so you can create templates and save them in your archive, and then you can pull them in and use them again and again. So once you've built a service page, you can save and got it perfect. You can save your service page, and then you can go and add it to all your other pages and make your changes exactly the same as if you was using a pre-built template. It is a pre-built template. It's your pre-built template. The other thing is blocks. Okay, so this is quite cool. So rather than a whole page, this is just individual little sections. Okay, so there's loads of them. I don't know how many there is, but there's absolutely loads, and they're categorized here. You use this drop down. You've got about sections, you've got hero sections, call to action sections, everything you could possibly want. So that's that. Okay, what I typically do is build my own template. Okay, so and I build it on a section by section basis. So I'll click here, this little plus icon, to give me a new section. You can choose your structure here, so how many columns you're going to have. Okay, so every single time I start with 1 column. Okay, so there you go, bang, there's a section. Okay, from there, I go to the widgets on the left-hand side, and I drop in a section. And that's given me 2 columns, right? Now, if I want 3 columns, that's easy. You can hover on the black edit column icon, right-click, and you can edit column, duplicate, add new column, copy, paste style, etc. Okay, so if I want 3 columns, I'm just going to go there, right click, duplicate. I've now got 3 columns. Okay, so that's how you add columns. And yeah,
what if you've already got something there though, and you then want to add a column, you know, so like put a text box in the drag where it says drag widget.
Cool. So let's imagine I was going to build a header section. Okay, so what I would want to do is I would first and foremost give myself some padding. Okay, so with padding, I always find it's best visually if padding is consistent throughout your site. Okay, so I'm going to pick a number and say I want all my headers and footers of my individual sections to have a padding of 50. Right, I'm going to click on here so that I'm editing this section. Okay, I'm then going to and you can see here it says edit inner section. Right, I'm going to then go onto the advanced. Okay, I'm then going to click on the right hand side. Once you click advanced, you can see you can set the margins and you can set the padding. Okay, so if you enter a padding in here straight away off the bat, it's going to make it consistent for top, on left and right. Okay, but we don't want the padding necessarily on the left and right. We might want them to be all different numbers. So if you click here on the right hand side, this grey box is link values together. If we click that, you can then independently enter what you want as your padding or your margin. So let's do a padding at the top of 50, and a padding at the bottom of 50, right? Also going to want to set a background color or image. So let's set that to the section above so that it's full width. That's quite a cool little look. So let's just go to let's click on that. So we're editing that section, and you can see top left here, edit section. We're now in the section editor. Okay, so you've got 3 tabs here. So you've got the layout. So this controls the layout. So you might want a full width section. So you change that to full width, or you might want box. You might want it to only be so wide, right? So you can set how many pixels wide your box is. Okay, and then you've got stuff here like column gap. So that's the default padding that you're removing between your columns. Height, okay, so you can give yourself a minimum height, which you can set in pixels, or you can fix the height of the section to the screen. That's quite cool. So if you can see, tell you what, if I just quickly, yeah, okay, column position, that's self. Let me just quickly give it some color so we can see what we're talking about. So the three options in the edit section are layout, style, and advanced. Under style is all your typography and colors, okay? So let's give our section a background color so we can just see a little bit more that we're doing. So I will just click on background, and under the background, you've got background type. You've got 4 options. You've got classic, which is just a stock color, okay? You've got or image. You've got gradient, which you can set a gradient. Let's quickly do that so you can see that. Okay, and then you've got loads of controls of where the pink comes in, where the grey comes in, whether it's radial or linear, what angle the gradient is at, the position of the gradient, all this kind of stuff. Really cool. You can get some really cool effects with this. Or you can add a video background. Okay, so video backgrounds, I don't really use it, to be honest, because it's going to slow your website down. Or you can add a slideshow. That's a really cool feature. I think I may have showed you that last week. But yeah, let's just add a color anyway. Let's add some content. So let's add a heading in here. Okay, I might want to change the color of that heading, so I'm just going to click on the style of the heading, text color. I'm just going to change that there. Right, okay, cool. So we've got one section there. If you want to duplicate that, that's absolutely fine, you know. Edit column, Let's go back to that intersection box, yeah. So basically, you can just click on there, you can right click and you can duplicate, and there you go, it's added another column. And you can add another column, you know. And if you don't want that to have the same text in there, you can delete that text. And you might want to put a form in there, for instance. So if we go to our widgets on the left-hand side and search form, there's our form. We can drag it, we can drop it. And there's a very basically styled form, right? But every widget, okay, has got 3 options under the editor, okay? So typically content, style, and advanced, okay? So style is always where you set the colors and the typography and the buttons and all that kind of stuff. Advanced is typically margin and padding. There's loads of other options like motion effects, backgrounds, border, positioning. I keep it very simple. You know, I typically use the margins, the padding, the style, the colors, the typography, and the content, okay? Yeah. With the backgrounds, you can kind of stack effects, okay? So if we could just go back to the edit section editor, and we go back to the style, you've got a background, but then you've got a background overlay as well. So we might set the background color to say gray, and then we might go and choose an image. And so let's go have a little look. Let's say we choose this image of CJ and the dog. What's your dog's name?
Wolfgang.
Wolfgang. CJ and Wolfgang, great picture. And then position. Okay, so we've got a picture there. You can see, we can only see the top of your hair. You've got loads of different options here. You've got position, okay? So we can move the picture around several axes. So we've got center, center, center left, center right, top center, bottom center, etc. Or custom, okay? So custom, you've got the X and Y axis that you can play around with and position your image exactly where you want it. Okay. Underneath that, you've then got attachment. Okay. So attachment means we can have a fixed image. Okay. Which when you scroll your page, the image will stay still and more of the picture will be revealed. It's a kind of parallax style. So that's something to have a play around with. You've then got whether the image is repeated or not. Okay. So the software will by default tile an image. So if it doesn't fill a space, it will repeat it. You can turn that off. Okay. And then it will just fill it with a color. And you can turn that off over either axis, over the X or Y axis. Okay. So oftentimes, unless it's a repeating pattern, I would turn that off. Then we can, if we look at size, okay, we've got cover, contain, or custom. So if we click cover, oh, what's going on? That image in the section. Let me just delete this a second. Right. Let's put the default. Okay. Right. So if we click on size, so you've got cover, so that will cover the section or whatever you're asking it to be the background of it. It will cover that section. And if you put contain, it will contain the image within the section. Okay. So that's quite cool. You can play around with that. Obviously, a big image like this, you know, is kind of hidden in a small section like this. So I would go to edit section, go onto the layout, and I would put the height at fit to screen, and then you can see you've got the majority of that image. Well, you haven't got the majority because it was a portrait image, wasn't it? But if really landscape images are more suited for headers and all the rest of it. So yeah, that's quite cool. Let's have a quick look through your questions. How do I add a column? I want to add text to the right of my contact form on chat to the CJ page. Okay. Let's exit to the dashboard and let's go and have a look on your live site that you've been working on, which I think is looking really cool.
Yeah, I'm really happy with it. So yeah, chat to CJ. And then I've done a form.
Okay.
I want it to be 2 columns, I guess. Or, well, actually, no, I'd like that in the middle and to still add some text to the right, to the space on the right. Is that?
Okay, yeah, cool. Okay, so as you know, when you're on the front end and you're logged in, you can edit any page by clicking on Edit with Elementor. So we're going to click on Edit with Elementor. And that's going to take us into the page builder. And here's our page, okay? So let's have a quick look. So you've got a section there. A section there, yeah, fine. And then you've got a section here. Okay. So with this section, you want to add a text box on the right-hand side and a column on the right-hand side, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
So quite simply, actually, I don't know how you've. So you've added a section here, haven't you?
Yeah,
like
like that. I just dragged the contact form into that widget.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so just a better way to do it, and to give us that more granular control, is to add a section, and then to add an inner section. So the inner section is so the outer section is basically, you know, going to control the whole of the background of that section, and the inner section is going to allow us to have columns. It's also going to allow us to style them slightly differently as well. Okay, so imagine if we've done that, you know, we can then drag your form that you've created into. Can we? Why can't we? Why isn't it letting me do that? Why is it not letting me drag that into there? Let me see. Oh yeah, so I've had to drag the whole column in there. So that's fine. So I've dragged the whole column in there. Is that fine? Let me just see. And then we've got an inner section. Yeah, that's fine. So you can see there when I'm hovering, you've got the outer section, and if we go down a little bit, we've got the inner section. Okay. So if you click on that first one, you can see the top left edit section, and if we click on this one, we can see edit section as well. But I don't think it says inner section. That's fine. That's an inner section. Cool. So once it's in there, you can right click and you can add new column, and there you go, you've got a new column. And then if you want to add text in there, just go to your text editor and drop that in. Text editor, drop that in. And there you go, there's your text. So what text was you going to put in there?
I think I was going to put contact details. I think I was going to write something like, or just give me a call. Just give me a call or email.
Cool.
Just so that while they were doing the form, it was right there in case they were like, oh, I can't be arsed filling all this in. I'm just going to give her a call or whatever. Yeah,
that's good. That's good. So yeah, you can do that. You can put it in there. I tell you what, you might want to look at actually is the templates, to go and have a look at the contact template.
Yeah.
So if we go and click on that template there, and then go to the blocks. And then the drop down, and then contact. So there you go. We've got quite a few different contact pages there. So it may be that one of them is close to the kind of thing you're trying to achieve. You know, obviously you can click on preview. You can preview any of them. So this is like 3 columns wide. Has it gone? Contact. Yeah. Are you going to put a map on there, or are you not really sort of constrained by your location? Are you?
No. That get in touch one at the top is quite nice. It's got pro next to it. Does that mean I have to upgrade to get that?
Which one? This one?
That one, yeah.
Yeah. Well, being the kind of man I am, I've put the pro my developer license on it, so you're all pro'd up for both the Astra theme and for Elementor. So yeah, that's in there now.
Vibe I was going for, yeah.
So and then I would drag your form. We can drag your form in there.
Okay.
Drop him in there or her in there, and then we can right click and delete their form. And their form is gone. There you go.
Oh, brilliant.
Obviously, you can play around with that.
Yeah.
I'll leave that on there then.
Okay.
So you had another question about the button, was it?
Yeah. So first of all, the button itself, I couldn't get it to. I wanted it to be a smaller button, but in the middle of the form. I couldn't get it to do it. It kept going slightly to the left or the right of the form, even when it was saying centered.
Okay. So let's have a quick look then. So if we click on the edit form button on the left-hand side, we have got the form editor. Okay, so here we've got the input size. So that is for the button. Is it for the button? No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. That's for the fields. Okay. Oh, buttons. Hold up. So the buttons here. So we click on buttons. So you can control the size of the button. So it can be extra small, small, medium, large, or extra large. And here underneath the alignment, okay, so you've got 4 options. So you've got left aligned, centrally aligned, right aligned, and justify, which would be the whole width of the form.
Yeah. Oh, well, I don't know why I wasn't. I must have been somewhere else because it wasn't.
But then
working.
if you click on style and
Yeah.
buttons, you've also got some options under there.
Right.
Okay. And you've got a border type, so you've given it a border there. You can set the border width. You can see there.
Can I make it so that the buttons are the same all over the page?
But yeah, you can do that. You can do that. The only thing with the forms is the form button's not the same, because what you can do is you can style any element, and then you can copy, and then you can right click that element. Okay, so let's choose this text element. You can copy, and once you've copied it, it's copied the element, but it's also copied the style. So then you can go to another element, right click, and you can paste style. So if I just show you very quickly with like call to action buttons.
Yeah.
So let's just add a new section, and let's go and add a new inner section, and let's give it, say, 3 columns. And then let's go and get a button. Let's drop the button in there, and let's duplicate that. You know, with everything in life, you know, there's obviously always more than one way you can do it. But let's just have a quick look. So here, if we go to our button editor, okay, so we change the text. So maybe it's it started as something I always like to put. It's got a little bit of intent there. And let's make it a bit bigger. So you got to think, a lot of people, if they're on mobile phones, you know, you want it to be nice and big and clicky, you know, it needs to look appealing. So if we go to the style, and let's say we want to make this button have a really funky orange color or something like that, you know, we set that to orange maybe. And then maybe we want to set a hover style. So you've got these hover animations here. So if we drop down, you've got like grow, shrink, pulse, bounce in, push. Let's choose push, and let's change the background color from that orange to a nice blue or something like that, say. And then you could change the text color, say, to yellow. It's probably going to look horrendous, right? But I just yeah, you can set your border. So if you wanted a border color, you can do that. So let's set a border color. So give it a solid border, give it, say, 3 pixels. Let's make the border color actually the same, orange, because I just want to show you something quickly. So border color, rather than being blue, let's make it orange. Okay, so there's our button, and then when we hover on our button, you can see it changes like that. Okay, but that's not great because you can't really see what it says because of the yellow, but you can see the kind of the attention it gets from that little animation. That's quite cool. Now if we want to make this button the same, we can just right click, copy, go to the other button, right click, paste style, and there you go, it's pasted your style across. Yeah.
Perfect, yeah.
But obviously if you want all your buttons just the same, let's just add some more. Let's just save that, so update that. Obviously within the customizer as well, you can set the color of your buttons, and then all your buttons will come out that stock color. But I tend to, yeah, just make some funky little buttons really. So what I might do as well is I might just duplicate this, and I've duplicated it, and I might have 2 call to actions on a page, right? So, but one call to action may have more buyer intent, and one call to action may have slightly less intent. So I might make the call to action button with more intent stand out more, and then I might say, you know what, let's have a little what they call ghost button. So this one, we make it a ghost button. So if we go to the editor, click on style and background, let's get rid of the background so there's no background. Okay, let's grab the orange from our border, and let's put the text color as that orange. And you can see now we've got 2 buttons that kind of work together with a little bit of contrast. So that's kind of cool. You know, I mean that rollover just looks horrendous. I wouldn't keep it like that.
I don't know what you mean now, yeah.
but it's just to show you how to do it, really. So yeah, that's quite cool. So you can definitely do that, and you can copy those buttons, you know. And if I don't know how far you want to go in it, but if you right click here, you can save this as a template. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So once I've saved that as a template, so I'll go into there, give it a template name, call it buttons, and save. And now anywhere I go, I can add those buttons. So let's add a new section, and click on the plus. Oh. Oh no, my bad. Click on the templates, and there you go. You can see the buttons here. Insert, and there you go. Yeah. So you could create sections like this that you don't publish on your website necessarily, that you can then publish in the footer for those footer widgets and stuff like that.
Brilliant. Yeah. So how do we, when they've sent the form, then how do we control what the message that they see, what comes up?
Awesome. Okay. Right. So this is really powerful form builder actually, and yeah, it's really awesome what you can do within this. So obviously the first when you go to the editor, okay, you come up to the content. So if we click on content, you set all of your fields in here, and as you've discovered, there's lots of different kinds of fields. You can let people upload images, and you can have text fields. You can ask them a question or ask them to make choices, all this kind of stuff. Really cool. And you can also actually make it a stepped form, so it could just have one question and then they click to the next question. That's quite cool. But underneath the actions after submit, okay, so you can have it just email to you, or you could have it go to MailChimp, or you could have it go to ActiveCampaign, GetResponse, any of these kind of CRMs, which is really cool. You can have it go to your Slack channel if you run Slack or anything like that. Or you can have it link into any sort of webhooks and stuff like that. So we've done some really cool stuff with getting forms going to spreadsheets and all this kind of stuff. But that's something to explore another day. But if we click on email, okay, so here you can set where it's going to send the email to. So at the moment it's set to mine, so you probably want to set that to yours. Okay, you can set the subject, what's going to be in the message. So this is the message that this form is going to send to you, okay? You can set the from email address. Again, we'd change that to something at your domain, but just very quickly, I'm just going to change it to mine. You can set it to CC somebody in and to BCC somebody in. You can also set the metadata. So this is all the content that it's going to send to you in the form, okay? So it's going to tell you the date, the time, what page the form was generated from, the browser, the IP address, and credit. We don't need that. That's all quite useful information, and there's other bits and pieces you can get in there. Okay, then you've got additional options, custom messages. Okay, so this is what they get sent. Okay, or actually the message that is on the page once it's sent. Okay, so the form was sent successfully. So you might just say something like, "Thanks for your inquiry." Oh, spell. We will get back to you soon, or something like that, right? Error message if there's an error, if it doesn't work, and required message. So if you set any of your fields to be required, which you can see these ones with the red asterisks are required, if they don't fill them out, it will just tell them that they need to fill them out. If we update that, and just very quickly go and have a look on the front end, okay, if we fill your form in, and yeah, it's really cool, date field. So do you have a venue confirmed? You could put as a yes or no kind of question. And again, budget, you know, you could put that as, they could have options, you know, like up to £5,000, up to £10,000, up to £100 billion, or whatever people spend on weddings. I don't know. Or photographers. Anything else you want to discuss, fill that out. Okay, cool. Then if we click to send, see that little message has popped up there. So if you want it to send them an email, can we do that as it is? Actions after submit. So we can go to actions after submit, and you can select email to. This will give you a second email box, okay? And then you can send them an email. We'll need the short code for their email address, which will be in the form fields, okay? So if you look in the form fields, and if we select one, so your email address, let's have a look at that. Under each form field, you've got a number of options, okay? So you've got the content, obviously you've got the type of question it is, the label, the placeholder, whether it's required or not, and how much space it takes up on the column. I always like to do them full width. It's just the easiest like that. And here, default value and email. Short code, okay, we're interested in this. So this short code here, okay, if we take that, and if we go to email to, and then we want to send this email to the person who's filled it in, we just enter that short code into the to field. Okay, you can change the subject, okay, so it could be a bit snappier. So we'll just get rid of that, for instance. And you can type your default your message in here. Okay. And again, you can use the short codes from the other form fields, their name, for instance, to fill their name in. So if we go back,
wow, yeah. That's nice.
And grab their name, yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. It's really quite powerful, actually. So just grab that. Oh yeah, we can just put that in there. You know, and that all fields shortcode there, that's obviously just going to publish all the fields that they've entered. So whether you want to send that back to them, I don't know, but you may want to, or you may not want to, but you probably want to, you know, write a nice little message. Hi, it's CJ. Thanks for your form. I'm gonna be in touch with you real soon. Thanks for taking action on my website.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that is pretty much it. Is it from the form?
It's probably it for my brain at the moment. I'm feeling a bit knackered today.
That's a lot of content we've gone through there.
I'll have a look through it. I'm going away this afternoon for a couple of days with the kids till Monday. So next week I'll put some time aside to watch the video again. And I'll probably just go over my questions and write down any ones that I can't remember. And there'll probably be a few more to add to it, I guess, won't there, as well?
Yeah, definitely. But I think that's good today. I think that's a good session. We've structured it well, and you know, hopefully when we watch the video back, it's it's useful. And
there was some good stuff in there. I've got a bit of a headache. My brain's not engaged as much today as it is usually.
So some of the questions you fired over were like, you know, quite advanced stuff, right? And let's cover it, but let's cover it a little bit later on. Let's nail your layout and get it looking really, really sexy and working.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I don't want to rush it.
No. But to be honest, it's already better than what's up there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I like it a lot.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think I don't know what sort of time you've got to spend on the site over the next week, but
I can probably get a good chunk done next week. Actually, probably get a good couple of days, just really tweaking it and I want to get all the links, you know, in it and make sure the buttons and stuff. What do you think for some call to actions? What's some straightforward ones that I should add, you know?
Yeah, right. What do you want people to do? Or what's the language that people would expect to do when requesting your business? You know, like is it make a booking or inquire about a booking?
I'd like people to book an engagement shoot. That works well when I'm face to face at wedding fairs. I say to them, literally just pay £125 to book an engagement shoot.
That's good, isn't it?
And then if you like me, I'll take the £125 off the wedding package.
Oh, really?
Kind of thing. Yeah, because it comes with the package anyway. So
where does it say about that on the website?
It doesn't yet.
Right, cool. So that's awesome. So I think that we need to kind of shout about that, because how expensive could a wedding photographer be? And then if you don't gel, we don't get on. So they've really got a good opportunity to get to know you for a very reasonable price, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, love that. Cool. So yeah, for the call to action, I guess would be, is it book a discovery call, or is it? I mean, literally, do you want it to be, book that engage? If you want it to be book the engagement session, then you need to tell them about it. They need to understand it, don't they? So I think that probably the way that should work is that on your homepage, you talk about what you're going to do, and you could probably put, I find a good first point of call is for us to have this engagement session, and then lead them onto the page, which is just about the engagement session. So each page is going to have a slightly different call to action, isn't it? So maybe on this one, it's ask me a question, find out how to work with me, something like that. And then maybe on the wedding photography one, maybe the wedding photography one is book the initial session, isn't it? That's it. That's what it is. But no, I'm impressed. I think it looks really cool. So yeah,
actually,
really
just
well.
two more questions. One, do I need a home page, like to go back to the landing page, you think?
Well, I don't really like putting the home in these menus anymore. I like to think that people know how to get home by going on the logo. I'm probably wrong though. There's lots of people that disagree with me. But really,
I wouldn't have done that.
But what's going to be on the homepage?
Well, that's the thing. At the moment, what is it? It's just, I can't even remember what.
So really, at the moment, it's a bit of an intro to you. Grab a free guide to choosing your wedding photographer. So something like this, I would think that you would make this something that's a consistent element on most of your pages,
Yeah, with something different in it, or
yeah, it can be with something different in it, or it can be the same. I guess like I work with this sort of business coach, and he says like, best, better, best, right? So start with what you've got. So if you've got that content that's ready to go, then have that all throughout the site, and then as you get more into it, you can add more things, But I'd make that consistent element. So there'd be a few consistent elements. Really, for me, the homepage is to steer people to the product pages.
Okay. All right. And then the other question is, under featured weddings, I don't know how to add. I want to add like a blog kind of stuff. I want to add a picture of a wedding that you click that opens up a gallery, and each one will open up a gallery.
Yeah. Okay. So if we go to the dashboard, have you looked at the posts?
No.
Okay, so this is basically a blog. Okay, so if we go in here, all posts, have a play with this. So you can add a new post. You can give it categories.
I remember that.
Perhaps this can work for that. You can still use Elementor in it. So you do so and so's wedding, or I think you're going to do wedding photography Bay or whatever the town is.
Yeah.
And then you can just add Elementor, add your gallery in exactly the same.
Yeah.
And then I will show you at a later date how to create that as a kind of archive page.
Okay, that's fine.
A few different ways we can do that.
That's fine. Cool.
Yeah, awesome. Happy?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
So I think it'd be good to just to make a few improvements to this, and then kind of get it live and improve while it's live.
Yeah.
So you probably need to look at the footer and what you're going to do there.
Yeah.
And again, sketch it out, pen and paper, have an idea, and then perhaps next time we can. Say if you send it to me earlier, then I can plan out if we need to build any sections or anything like that.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. I better go because I got to go and get the kids packed in the car and everything. So.